Today's question on Ask a Psychologist comes from Nadira, and she asks, "Hi Nesh, what is your opinion on the efficacy of AMDR for trauma therapy in kids and teenagers?" To tell you the truth, when I first got this question, because I did look at it a little bit a moment ago, I had to look at what AMDR is. And it is the acceptable macronutrient distribution range or ranges. And so it comes from the Australian Bureau of Statistics as to what each person should go out and have in terms of what are the recommendations with, how much carbohydrate, you have in your diet, how much fats, how much protein you have, and they've got different recommendations for the population. In some sense, the question here is, how does diet go out and play in the role of therapy, and in specific with trauma therapy? I'm not an expert on this, so I don't actually know, but I can tell you what makes a lot of reasonable sense, and in actual fact what some of the data goes out and says. And absolutely, I think that AMDR has a lot to do, certainly a contribution to how we can do our therapy. We know that kids that don't have a good diet are not going to go out and learn very well, and so we can go out and deduct from that a kid, a child, a teenager that isn't going out and isn't fed well enough, doesn't have the nutrition, is malnutrition, so to speak, has a lesser chance of absorbing what you might go out and do in therapy. We know they've got a lesser possibility of going out and learning in the classroom, and so we'd go out and relay that across to therapy. Their memory is going to be affected. Irritability is going to be affected. I think our immune system is going to be affected. There's lots of stressors that go on, that lead on to not having, I imagine, all of your diet in place. And there's data, probably, to the moon with regards to how diet goes out and affects kids, teenagers, and adults. I think the big question in here is not whether it works. I think the data is very, very clear that good diet does help and helps with emotional regulation and because we've seen kids that start cracking up and having a good old hard time for their parents who are eating really poorly, and you change their diet and things change. I think the question here is, how do you actually get kids and teenagers, and in some sense their caregivers, their parents, to go out and eat in a much better way that is clinically proven is going to go out and benefit the children and the parents. You see, we all struggle with eating well. We all struggle with what's the balance between how much protein, how much fat, how much carbohydrates we go out and have. And if you're anything like I am, we all love, well, not all, but most of us love sweets. We love fats. It's part of our biology, in actual fact. If I give my child the option between, two items, one is chocolate, for example, full of carbohydrates, empty carbohydrates, and I give them, let's say, a cucumber. It might have a lot more nutrients, or an apple, whatever it might be. We know which one is going to win every single time. We also know that when parents get tired and exhausted, they find it difficult to go out and prepare more nourishing food because it takes a lot of effort. It's so much easier to just open up a packet of something, eat it. We go out and get all those little pleasure senses fulfilled, and we go, wasn't that a wonderful evening watching television while snacking on crap? Right? It's just, life is easier that way. The convenience goes out and leads us to go out and eat appallingly. And I think most of us are in that boat. There are certainly people who do an exceptional job, and good on them, well done. But from a therapeutic point of view, I would say, how do we go out and motivate our clients to eat better because we know they feel better? And we could probably ask the same question with exercise and a range of other things. So I reckon it's a fantastic question, because we should be focusing part of our therapy on those things that will add benefits, and maybe a part of that is going to be addressing things like diet. I know Kelly Wilson, who I have got a lot of time and regard for, does talk about diet, quite considerably in his workshops, in his work. And he's got a lot of data to go out and demonstrate the efficacy of eating well and eating clean and so on and so forth. I don't think that's debatable. I think most people, most scientists, practitioners have worked this out. The challenge is the motivation part. So the efficacy of AMDR for therapy, I think is proven. How we go out and apply that is the $1 million question.